We are so happy to have Dr. Zizi. Yeah, I just want to pose this particular question to you. Work. No. Just to want to get your your input on when Bayu as as a stage designer or as a visualizer, how do you see it? I mean. Yeah, do you learn from each other or you instruct him? Especially with that theatre there, yeah.
Oh, actually, as it is true, I forced him to help me with my final project that was my final doctoral project in Australia. So bila kat Australia tak ada siapa lagi, of course he had to help me. Actually, when we actually started to get to know each other. Before that, we worked together in production, 3 different production, but nothing lah, nothing more.
We will get back to that.
Yes, but there's one time that actually I asked him to, I directed in Istana Budaya. That's why I invited Bayu. That's why actually he couldn't do it. So that's why this one he had to help me. So basically, how should I say? About production, about soalan dia.
Yeah, the role
dia
that
sebagai,
he as a painter, as a visualizer, as a visual artist, how does it contribute to the making of your production?
I see.
Do you talk about it after the rehearsal, things like that? I don't think so. The color blue is nice. I think the stage is too high. Do you give that input?
Actually, it's quite hard to. When we are husband and wife,
yeah,
it's quite hard to work
because
we seldom talk about the production at home, definitely. So when we are going to the meeting and we're actually in the same car, but we discuss in the in the studio. When I started my study as a diploma student theatre, Bayu as a Malaysian set designer. So I Bayu Utomo, okay, and he used to work with Christian Jit. Yeah, Christian Jit. So he's up there already as a Malaysian set designer. So definitely yes, we discuss a lot in the meeting studio. But what I think, yes, his knowledge in terms of visual arts help the production.
Okay.
But what I want to actually share, maybe not he as the set designer. Yes, I remembered when we got married, he said that he no longer want to be a set designer. He wanted to continue again his journey in fine arts. And I think that was an interesting decision because he decided, a few months after we got married, he decided he wanted to be entrepreneur. That's what he said to me. So he set up his gallery. And he left doing set design. So basically now he's as a businessman, own his gallery and his artist. But what I would like to share, maybe for young artists, sorry lah, I'm not talking good things about my husband. But as two artists living in the same house, his discipline very high. He treats his artwork as his daily job. As he mentioned, he has his schedule, which day to go to studio. His gallery, and he always asks me, I said, like, for example, you are a director, where's your work? So if I connect with his, you are an artist, where's your work? So if I can analyze his mind, being an artist, you must keep producing work, And as what is mentioned, being in the studio is actually important. And I think that's because sometimes I also hang around some of my artist friends, which I realize that if they are fine art artists, they don't do work much. So yeah, I think being in a studio, or I think if you want to be like Bayu, the discipline that he has, the determination, the struggle, that's what you should inspire. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, thank you very much. I think so. That's another way of putting it. You are very, very tak biasa-biasa, Bayu, because I think usually artists, they work in isolation. They are so, value their precious space and things like that. So with Bayu, his endeavor in art stage, art design, and other aspects of arts, I think, it's exposed you with networking, working with people and things like that. So working in, not in isolating manners, yeah? So we have one more topic before we go to the next stage, where, like what Dr. Zizi mentioned, yeah, you come up with all this art initiative, art entrepreneur, for lack of a better word, I call it artpreneur. You have art residency program, you have art fund, you creating biannual art competition among the young artists. I think I really, really want to appreciate you, congratulate you in person, that these are the endeavors that tak biasa-biasa, because some other artists work so committed. There's nothing wrong with that. Not everybody are into helping some other thing. I think after about at least 10 years, doing all this thing, you achieve something among these young people?
I think, yeah. I think young people engage with
yes.
we do, because I think because I start all these things pun masa final year in UiTM, when I was in final in UiTM, we already formed the Mata Hati group.
Yep.
The Mata Hati group, not after. We formed the Mata Hati group in the intention of we have to grouping together to make sure that we're still alive. Alive meaning that we're still producing work after we graduate. Because I think during that time the art scene is very unsure, because all the gallery during that time, all the gallery are exhibiting established artists. So I think during that time we just feel there's no chances for young artists to be shown at their gallery. And the only institution that involved with the young artists is the National Gallery, Galeri Petronas during that time. So and the institution only a few, and not many program during that time, So we realized that. So I think we have to be grouped together to make sure that we are still in that scene. We still manage in that scene. So that's why we formed the group. After we graduate, we are staying in the same house and producing and creating our own exhibitions. Because we know nobody exhibits us, then we are exhibiting ourselves. So kita pergi, we are searching for the space. So I think I remember in one time at the well, apa?
The well.
We were around, tengok salah satu kedai is empty and is for rent. So we just rent the kedai and putting an exhibition there, and asked like Dato Esamat Sain to open during that time. So that's the thing that we are doing. And after doing that, you just will build. Okay, I mean, in the art, you have to push yourself. You have to creating the opportunity. You cannot wait the opportunity. You have to create the opportunity. So I think being in the group and doing this kind of activity, this kind of thought, make me feel that I should creating anything. I be able to do anything if I want to do it. So I think being in that group has really helped me to set up. So that's why after that then I said to the group, why don't we open our own space? So we end up with open home.
I see.
So home is starting with the group. But I realized also that involving them in the art space make them less time for them to creating their artworks.
I see.
You know, so I decided, I tell them, okay, never mind. Then I handle the art space, and everybody become an artist lah. I mean, do their own stuff.
I know. Okay.
So that's why
that's how it's the,
that's how we start. So when we set up the space, we cannot do a space to be a commercial gallery, because we didn't have the ability to operate like a commercial gallery. We have to create a space, or we have to open up a space that it must help the young people, or it must help the people or the artists that need. That's why it's for young artists. So, and we have to do a program that really mengetengahkan all these young artists, you know. And we have to become a platform, but not exclusive with them. Meaning that we exhibited them, let them be known. Then after that, they can go anywhere they want, you know. They don't have to be with us, because we're not the person to handle them, but to introduce them, you know, that kind of thing. So after doing that, then the program is berkembang. After that, then we feel, why don't we do a residency? Because we have friends from Southeast Asian, you know. So we start to do residency, to invite all these Southeast Asian artists to come, and hopefully engage with the local artists, and using that platform to really mengajak all these local artists that be known with them to travel to their countries, you know. So kind of to pushing these young artists to going out, kind of thing. So that's why we always doing things with residents. We say, if we want to do residents, it must be exchange. I don't want you only come, but you have to bring me out. So that's the starting of the residency. So we come out with 3 type of residency. It's for the local, it's for the Southeast Asian encounter, and for the international, so that kind of thing. So it's come very naturally, that kind of thing. Then after that, we just feel, what else that we can do for the young kids, the young artists. So we said we should do art competition, but we don't call it. We should do an award. Award. The reason is we want to award the artists. We want to, because young artists during that time tak banyak award, kan? And I think we should do award to give to young artists. So when they win, hadiah tu akan help them to creating. So no,
I see.
Help them to create. So that's why we end up with the MA Malaysian Emerging Artist Award,
of course,
in the form of what we call it, travel. So maksudnya apabila dorang menang, it's not that okay you got the money and that's what's that, but when you won, then we give you another one. We give you 3 other program for you. So meaning if you won, you really been known, kind of thing. So that's the idea. That's the idea. And after that, we creating lagi another what we call it, another award. Is they call it Young Gun Award. Young Gun Award is for the young artists that been known to be highlight. So some people say, why are you doing all this awards?
Yeah.
The young gun. Why you want to award other artists? Who are you to award other artists? For me, simply is for me we don't see it as an award. See it as appreciation.
Okay.
It's like you are good, I appreciate. I said, wow, you are doing a good thing. That's the idea, you know. So the way, meaning that if we're giving you a award because we know you're producing good works, then you should be known. You should be highlighted. That's why we do that kind of idea. So it's been there for like 6 to 10 years already.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
And any plan to have a backup on this? I mean, are you going to do this? You know, any
it's
young people take over you and things
it's
like
supposed
that?
The idea is supposed to be that. I mean, because the idea is, for me is, I think the art scene is creating artists to become an artist, but art scene didn't really creating people involved with art to become somebody else that helping artists.
Okay.
You get what I mean? So meaning the art scene didn't create more curator. They didn't. The art scene didn't create manager. It didn't actually that, because I think that's the element, all the element that we need to make sure that artists and artworks berkembang, kita tak ciptakan.
I see, I see.
You know,
So the artists have a role in creating the ecology.
They have to be role.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have to.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
If not, who else? Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And Fairul, Fairul, do you have similar awards and these groupings in your field?
I mean, yeah, basically we have a similar things. Because in my personal opinions, in the industry, basically in art scenes, we have a serious artist, and we have mainstreams, and also we have a marginalized, basically. You know, like for me, I am very into serious arts. Barely do a commercial works like backupping artists and so on and so forth. But again, yet to survive in the industry, you must do all this kind of thing, because if you follow the hierarchy of Maslow, dance is always in the bottom of the pyramid, basically, and you have to survive. But in Malaysia, we barely have this kind of award. We only have Cameroonian Arts Award to appreciate all these serious artists like dancers and choreographer. And then in the olden days, in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, we have Dance Escalator under the Goethe Institute of Germany. And we must do work like similar what Bayu have done. We have 5 during that time. We have Belkis, Joseph, Limpogi, and Dr. Anis. You must like observe the process of these 8 young choreographers, and then you compete. You know, during that time we don't have an award for the first session, and then the second session we have another process, and we the what we call the mentor must see the progress, and then we have a final showing. So the final showing is not really a competition, but it's more similar like award. You've been awarded by all this kind of thing and given by the Goethe Institute of Germany, and you must go to, you will be awarded fly to Germany and watch Tanz im August, which is most promising and extravagant festival in Berlin during that time. And during that time, of course, I'm the winner for the first time. And then, of course, again, we don't have any funding. And Dance Escalator died. And then there's no further actions. And this is the problem. Basically, this is the problem in our country. We always think about competitions. We want to compete. But people doesn't really understand arts is not about competing each other. Art is not about competing. Art is about giving the awards to inspire other people, to connect the community, to build the bridge, to make people understand that this is how we express. We never try to impress other people. We never try to make people, or me, myself, I never try to make myself being a noble, for example. It's not about that. This is how we feed ourselves. This is how we want to live. So basically, art is always in the bottom of the pyramid. So I hope, you know, in the future, you know, as an artist, we must develop all these kind of things. Dance educations, for example. We have tremendous bunch of people or students who attends school in universities, but the job opportunities out there is very minimal, very little. And I'm very sad, honestly, to be frankly speaking, it's very sad to see the developments of arts in Malaysia. And I want to see the developments of arts in Malaysia same standard as Philippines, Indonesia. Look at Indonesia. They've been developed tremendously in New York City, the center of arts, Broadway, and this, etc., and so on and so forth. We must have this kind of thing. And the governments must support all this art. And I mean, I don't want to keep saying that the government must support the arts, but you know, we have Sekolah Seni, for example, 5 Sekolah Seni and something like that. And thankful that Encik Zulkifli from BSKK is here, you know, that organized the Sekolah Seni also. And I hope this Sekolah Seni will show the patience for the young generations that we are ready to conquer the world. It's not the Asia, the world. Because basically culture, the arts in Malaysia are totally ready to conquer the world. So, yeah, basically. So.
Yep, sure. That's a good, very, very good spirit, Zaro. I think we have been talking about almost 45 minutes with Bayu and Zaro. I think we know a little bit on his early exposure, that picture that brother gave to him, exposed him to the first formality in fine arts, and then we know that he has a very strict office hour routine despite being an artist, And then before I go to the last segment of the talk, which is I have one more slide or two more slides. Anybody from the floors that want to ask anything to both our panels here? So quiet. Okay. I think while everybody is thinking about what to ask, let me start with the final part of the thing. I want to bring you guys back to the current exhibition now, the Melakar Merentas Zaman. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting. Bersama Merentas Zaman, we have three artists, And then Galeri Petronas, as you know, is not only a business and oil and gas entity. They promote art via their cultural hub. They have MPO in the classical music and performance, and they have University Petronas, their academic arm. They have Petroscience. They are using science as entertainment, edutainment, and of course Galeri Petronas. Yeah, I think. The three keywords, semangat, bakat, and let me get this. The keywords that I'm so intrigued in the exhibition, and then maybe we can show our next slides. So the narrative, the keywords, the three keywords are very, very important. Yeah, the bakat, identity, bakat melalui bakat dan semangat. Yeah, I think these three keywords appear strongly in your painting. So I'm not surprised that Petronas, collected them, and then it represent as an extension their corporate identity, things like that. So it comes to this notion of art as signifier. Yeah. So I noticed that I've been informed that their acquisition is based on all this narrative, their corporate profile and their definition and things like that. And I was being told that these pictures at the back here, the series number 15, it represents their, their action, yeah, tindak tanduk and everything, their modus operandi, their strategy in pursuing not only, of course, their economic endeavor, but their cultural field also. What do you think, this Bayu, about artists as signifier, extension of a corporate identity?
I think because artist is a represent a visual, artists and visuals, and I think visual is very important element, basically to people to use as a element, Contohnya macam as a logo or something. It's like the Rampage album right then.
Okay.
Search Rampage. I need something that represent this, looking around to get that. So, and artists are creating images. But of course, artist is not designer that creating an images according to the client. But artists are creating images that they feel strongly to represent something out of them, So I think some corporate like to represent their orientation or their practice on that kind of visual. Okay, this. It's like Maybank, like the lion.
Yeah.
Of course, if you are a study lion as a tiger, then but to creating the element of tiger, the kalau as a human, the jati diri of tiger as a symbol. So I think artists have all these elements, but not all the images they represent are related to all organizations or something.
Exactly,
You know.
yeah.
But I think using that, I think is well, I don't know. I think it's a good. I don't know. It's a win-win situation, kind of thing. But I think if the corporate want to embrace that, and they have to go more detail. They have to go to more, because the artist is producing. The artists keep on producing element or series of works, you know. So I think they have to embrace the whole thing to be represent that you are not using it, but you're embracing and concerns and everything.
I see. The only reason I highlight that is like recently especially in the advanced nation, yeah, they are arguing about these funds, you know, from not so-called politically correct entity corporates, yeah, like tobacco company sponsoring certain awards and a major funder for a art institution. So some of the artists or artist activists question this, you know, the relevance, whether we try to be green, we are trying to, you know, who's manipulating who's, you know, things like that. So, you know, the question of whether art can heal the world, that kind of things, you know. So these are the things that I'm intrigued, you know, how, you know, while of course Galeri Petronas and Petronas as the, you know, one of our richest corporate entity, you know, try to promote certain thing. So these are the things that I thought that I would like to hear, you know, the conflicts and the mixed feelings on this, yeah. Recently, the Tate or the Tate Modern, you know, being questioned about, you know, the funding from the tobacco company, tobacco-based company, you know, the one, you know, it's very interesting, you know. You sometimes you worry not enough fund to promote your art to sustain the institution, but at the same time you query which fund is good, which fund is not good, yeah. So. And then following that, I think at the recent launching of this particular exhibition, you know, Galeri Petronas announced their new endeavor to come out with their new gallery, yeah, without name yet, at the other side of the KLCC Park. You know, they are purposely built building. I'm sure this is a very good endeavor, and all the art people are looking forward to this development. It's like 4 times the size of this current gallery, and then expected to be ready by 2024. And I've managed to see the visual of it. I'm sorry I cannot share it with everyone, but I think it is very dynamic, very organic, and that remind me of your pieces, you know, this gesture, silat, this movement, you know, things like that. Having said that, before I ask you another question, I was comparing to your pieces with Zol and also Mutalib. Yeah. Are you as intense and as these figures here at home? Outside the, maybe I should ask Dr. Zizi, but
I think yeah, sometimes a lot of audience are comparing or make a reference that you are what you paint, or what you paint is represent you, kind of thing.
Yeah. Is that true with you?
Well, it's not in this case. It's represent my journey, you know, and it's happened that the figure is me.
Yeah.
So, but okay, in the visual layer, the first layer of the visual, yes, we are saying that me represent myself, but another layer of that actually is me are telling you my journey. Another layer of that is the journey of man by itself.
Yes.
Yeah, that kind of layer. So. if you sing the first layer, it reflect you. You should say that me in this kind of condition, me in this kind of we can say behavior, or me in this kind of intention, kind of things, which is not wrong. Which is not wrong, but I think the painting is represent a man looking into the mirror, macam kita kan.
Yes.
Tengok cermin every day. You know every bit of your face, but every time you see your face on the mirror, you always keep thinking, you know, oh, I'm getting old. You know, the next day you look tired. What happened to you? You know, meaning that you are not seeing you're not seeing the mirror to see yourself, but actually is more on that, because you are dealing with yourself every day. So every time you see yourself in different. So I like my art to convey, or my art is kind of like I'm talking to myself. Basically, like I'm trying to producing art that try to reflect on me, that what I'm doing makes sense to me. That's complicated.
I do get what you mean.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think that's come up to these two words that you keep on saying when you do these warrior figures. Yeah, the myth and the unknown of the warriors that intrigue you from day one, even from the Bakat Muda Sezaman sculpture until now. Even it's so masculine, but then again there is one picture just now in my previous slide. You do female figure too, but the intensity, the eyes and things like that, still very, very masculine. So compared to our two other artists, Mutalim and Zul, they're very geometric, very line driven, and yours is very, very organic and very, very,
Because I think that's what a human figure is all about. Actually, because human figure is not telling the visual only, but it's telling the stories, meaning the eye. If you've seen the round of Zulkifli Yusuf, you can only reflect that as a round, as an object of round.
Okay.
But if you see a human figure, when you see the eyes, it's not you can see only the eyes, but you are reflecting whose eyes is this, why the eyes like this. Well, because the figure itself have its own story to tell, kind of thing. That's why it's become more organic, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Just my curiosity, my own question here actually. How long did you take to do this one big
painting?
Yeah, another layman questions.
If you focus, it's 1 week.
The one with maybe the charcoal first. Maybe the charcoal first.
Yeah, it's about 10 days.
10 days.
Yeah, can be less.
Wow.
Yeah.
From 9 to 5, time 10 days. Maybe
few hours a day.
Few hours a day. Okay. Yeah. And then the color version, the acrylic and on canvas, is it harder than the charcoal?
The charcoal is need more energy.
What do you mean? Strength, more power?
Yeah, it's strength because you're using your fingers and you're using your palm. Yeah, it's using your palm. It's like hard labor, But when you do the painting, is a brush.
I see.
So energy is less.
Another layman question that. Do you do mistake? Did you ever because all the painting looks so immaculate. How do you I would understand if it's so abstract and things like that. There's no reference to it. This is a figure. There's of course people can relate the eyes, bersamana, the tengkolok, whatsoever. So I'm just wondering.
I think because you already rearrange, and sometimes when you're creating you are putting partly plain and partly accidental.
Partly
plain. You
plain.
may already plan to do it.
You plan to do it. Okay.
And partly is accidental. Accidental meaning when you come up with color. Sometimes you have certain color on your mind, but when you apply it, it didn't get the feel that you wanted. It's changing, keep on
Okay.
changing.
And you are very minimal, selective on your color choices. Is this intentional?
Intentionally, yeah.
Intentionally,
Yeah,
and you like red.
yeah, I main color, black, white, red, and in between, blue,
Okay.
green maybe.
Audience, anybody on the floor want to ask about these big, huge paintings? Any effects on you? You know? Yes, please. Yeah, you. Can we have the mic? Yeah.
Hello.
Assalamualaikum. I would like to ask, basically, I'm not sure if this is an art question, this is probably a more human experience question. I would like to ask, while you were a young or emerging artist, perhaps you've gone through certain rejections or people commenting on your artwork, or you still go through that. So maybe just to share with another young or emerging artist, how do you handle or respond to such things? Because I'm sure young artists, they have a long way to go, but sometimes certain words or certain comments can just, make them give up or something like that. So perhaps you
Yeah.
can share. Thank you.
That's good questions. I think it depends to us. Sometimes kita ni tak boleh ditegur kan. Kalau ditegur kita sentap. Betul kan?
Sentap. Yeah.
Betul. So I think it's best. You doing it, don't show to people. Don't show to people. Because for me it's simple. I take because last time we have comments and everything. So I just take comment that I want to hear. Yeah, you take comment that you want to hear kan. Especially comment yang make you move. Because I think art is bukan calculative, satu benda yang open. So a lot of comment can be up, and a lot of yang comment yang tak faham. When comment tak faham, sometimes we didn't like to hear, So sometimes then kita kena avoid that. But if somebody yang like a challenge to hear opinion, then go for it. So. And I think it's a good thing if you this young artist hanging around to artists that want to help. If find a buddy that you want to help you out, kind of thing. So they will always give you support and comments, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, back to this new gallery of Petronas. Okay, I just want to ask, maybe to Zairul first. I think your aspiration, your hope for it, because lately Galeri Petronas has mixed, the performance arts and like Dr. Zizi performed during the previous exhibition, and so I'm sure this new bigger space will incorporate all other fields of visual arts, performance arts. Any hope for this new space?
I mean, talk about hopes. I always have hopes, even though it's hopeless.
Hope.
I mean, quotes, Fairul Zahid. Okay. All right. So basically, this is what we call the beauty of arts. The exclusive of the arts. We probably might have only few audience. We share a very gargantuan knowledge with a very small audience. And I think it's more than enough. We do not need have 2,000 audience to watch our work, maybe. But I believe that Mr. Bayu Utomo and myself also, we satisfied with our work with a small numbers of people, because we cannot make people happy with all our works, and that's obvious, and sometimes people hate it, but I do really hope that Galeri Petronas will continue all this kind of thing, even though the participants or the audience are very small. We do not need to think about the audience. The quantity is just numbers. You know, what we have to think is all about qualities. We cannot be a jago kampung all the times, you know. We have 2,000 audience. We are the winner. We are the champion. Our arts have been applauded by all this great audience who maybe doesn't understand about the arts. You know, who comes to this small space and they don't really what it's all about. What all this about figures and educations and arts education. They don't know about all this kind of thing. But what I hope is all these arts will fly across the sea. And the only things that we need is your prayer. You know, your prayer and always support art. Because, I don't know, it touched me. You know? I mean, of course now I feel so touched because, I mean, sad. My dream is always want to be an artist. I want to be in a professional company like Netherlands Dance Theatre, Brashnikov Arts, or maybe Akram Khan's dance company. I really want to be in this a professional company, but I don't know. It's just I end up teaching in UiTM. I come back from New York and I teach in UiTM, but I still happy because I want to share my art, my artistic experience while I'm in overseas with all these young people. Maybe I'm dead. Maybe my artistic work is already died. But I believe I will transfer all my work and my experience to all the young generations. And I hope all this young generation will keep developing. And the developments must have support from all these people like you guys. Yes, it's always have hopes. Thank you so much.
And Bayu, two things for the new space, and also any plan for your next, endeavor, shows or perhaps solo.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the new space. Oh, okay. I think it's good because I've been on Galeri Petronas since kat Daya Bumi dulu.
Okay.
We start exhibiting there a very long time ago. And we saw the development until here and now moving to new space things. But I think it's good the new space creating a program or something that make artists feel that they're part of it.
I see. Okay.
Because I think people said it's easy to have a space, it's easy to set up a space, but you have to determine what kind of space that you want it to be, to become, you know. So, and I think the art gallery should have somebody, or art galleries should have a program or a field that artists are embracing, they are part of them.
I see.
You know.
If I may, word it differently, I think despite of just being a contents provider, artists need to feel to have a sense of belonging to this new space. Yeah. So it's not just a formal task in just contents provider, but you belongs to the space.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Because I think then that particular good space I've been talking ataupun akan diperkatakan oleh artis tu.
Yeah, of course.
The artist yang saying, okay, I like this place. They are all like to be associated.
Of course.
Which is make art space become alive, because all the people that involved with art space are really part of it. You know.
Yeah. So they are part of the owners and the stakeholders and the contents provider all lumped into together. Yeah. So there's a sense of belonging. So the acts are more natural, and then you are you belongs to each other. I think that's
because
good.
I think that kind of feeling, that kind of process is the one that make benda-benda atau exhibition dan extraordinary. Okay. Because it's willingness of the artist. The artist willing to be more, to be more, doing more things. Like if you're inviting some artist, particular artist, if he do not belong, he just okay, just send whatever I want, you know. But if you feel belong, then it's like, okay, I want to I want to spend my time. I want to spend my time to create something good for this.
Okay.
You know, so.
And on your personal capacity, your future plan, any?
I don't know.
No, I happen to be on my last slide. I'm on my last slide. I managed to see your latest work. That is Lawang in the 2+2 show. It's interesting that you go back to this. There's no figures in that, but there's a figure. There's a Lawang is a flower.
Is that
Yeah, cengkeh. Yeah.
Spice, yes,
Yeah. And then the scales are more intimate, and then you twist the shape of the panel into, usually it's very, very, straight and conventional. Anything on that or?
Actually, this one is continuing of my abstract series. Actually, I've been changed figuring to abstract about almost 2 years now. Kind of things, yeah. But I'm not sure how it goes. I like to be that way. I mean, I'm not sure what's going to happen next.
You don't plan too much
I don't
in
because
advance, It's more
because
natural.
it's hopefully that the art attack me instead of I'm planning for them, you know. So I might doing this. It might be dragging me into certain kind of bigger things, or I don't know.
But one thing hasn't changed. Red is still there.
Okay, that's the good part. Not the good part. The one that experiment because when I'm doing abstract or when artists doing abstract, they tend to use colors as a point of text. Kan maksudnya color ni represent this colors, so they tend to have like rainbows in their works. Macam-macam color happening, you know. So for me, it's like I want to do abstract works, and the abstract works are driven by the gesture, not the color.
Not the color.
That's why I just only 2 color.
Okay.
Doesn't think
The black
so.
and the red.
The red, yeah. That's the thing.
Okay, guys. One last question before we wrap up the session. Anything to ask? Your last chance. Yes, at the back there. Yeah.
Big budget for about 500 million Sing dollar, which is more than a billion Malaysian. I don't know whether that's for that year or every year. Comparing to Malaysia, our National Art Gallery, it's got no budget. Budget just for the salary. And I'm amazed with Galeri Petronas. They are going big. And what is your comment on this bio? And to the dancer, the artist there?
Zaro, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't catch up your name.
Zaro, yeah.
Zilo, you were saying that audience is not important. I disagree with you. Because when I did an exhibition in Indonesia, it was supposed to be 7 days. And the governor extended for 3 months because of the audience. The school came in, universities came in, people came in. And people learn. I'm a photographer by profession. And it helps the people there in Taman Budaya Sumatera Barat. So you are saying that audience is not important. We must bring the audience in, not just from Malaysia. We must bring audience from all over the world to know that we are an art center. Indonesia is an art center written by the Westerns. Pusat Seni Dunia di Yogyakarta. That's why they are so booming. Every big companies are forking up for the artists in Indonesia. I've been to various, they call it museum. You don't have a museum, you don't brand them as an artist. You have to have a museum, not just an art gallery. So, when you say you tak perlu audience, and I am totally disagree with you. So, Bayu, your comment on the funds, and you about the audience again. Thank you so much.
Please.
Okay, I think on the fund, for me, I think simple, because I'm through my experience, like, okay, if somebody gave me 1 million, and they ask me, I give you 1 million untuk buat sesuatu untuk kebaikan art di Malaysia, right? So I don't know what to do, because I think if you want to embed untuk buat satu benda untuk kebaikan sini, sometimes it's not the amount. Meaning, kita cakap, okay, if you got 1 billion, right? Okay, 1 billion and you can open like 10 big art gallery in town, right? So the question is, who's gonna exhibit in that gallery? What kind of quality that you're gonna put in that 10 big gallery, you know? Because so all the thing is what we call it, berkait, you know. And towards the end of the day, it's not the infrastructure. What we call it's not the physical space.
Infrastructure.
Yeah, it must be coming from the embrace, meaning that if the seniman because the artist is the one that shaping the art scene.
True.
So, you know, so if the whole artist really need a certain amount to build certain amount, then it works. But if the artist didn't want that kind of infrastructure, so if you're giving them money pun, diorang tak tahu nak buat apa.
Exactly.
Because we've been trying in the small scale, because I pernah organize art fund. So what we did is we inviting artists from Indonesia and Manila in Malaysia to do an exhibitions, which is the proceed of the exhibition kita gunakan sebagai art fund for art activities in town. So we did the exhibition and we got a certain amount of funding, and we telling all the artists in town, okay, we have some fund, small fund. So any artist that want to have an activity, want to create an activity but don't have fund, then call us or tell us. After a while, it's nobody. You know, but when we meet people said, oh, kita perlukan ni, kita perlukan duit ni, kita perlukan space ni. But when ada tak tahu nak guna. That's the real things lah.
That's the real
yeah.
thing. Okay.
So I think the funding must coming from the artist. What they want. So that's why I believe semua benda yang kita buat, kita didn't get funding. Sebab kita believe it's not the money first, but if you want how much you want, then you get the amount. That's what I believe.
Okay.
Of course, a lot of money can create a lot of things, you know. But the idea for me is an art event. You don't want to do an event as an event, but you want to do an event that artists want it. Artists want to depend it, and artists want benda to continue.
Okay. So it's from the artist.
Yes. Yeah.
Zaro, on the question on audiences and KPI and things like that.
I mean, thank you for the questions, Mr. over there. Of course, I said, like earlier I said, we have a kelompok, you know, which is the serious arts with the mainstream and so on and so forth. And we have to remember that in Malaysia, the acceptance of the arts, of the serious arts, like what we did just now, what I danced just now, it's not same what the acceptance of the community in Indonesia. I've been in Indonesia, I've been teaching in Yogyakarta before also. I went to Yogyakarta and I teach in ISI, Jakarta. And then we have a festival in Ismail Marzuki Theatre. And the audience is full. But in Malaysia, for example, for the past 18 years, I've been involved in the industry of dance, for example. We have a theatre like Damansara Performing Arts Centre. We have a theatre like KLPAC, that the capacity for one day is only 200 people, 250 people. Yes, we can get 200 and 250 people in the audience. and yet we are happy. But we have to remember that we have maybe like 22 million people in Malaysia, but we're happy that we have 200 or 250 a day, you know, in a theatre. That's what I say. We don't maybe kita tidak dapat untuk menakluki or conquer all the audience across this region. Kita memang tidak akan dapat, because the acceptance of people, we try. The individual, like people like me, for example, I've been trying to convince other people about arts. Dah lama dah. Tetapi, again, kita ada dunia mainstream. Yang mana dunia mainstream have conquered by the television, social media, etc. and so on and so forth. Kita tidak mahu selling kita punya produk sama produk macam mainstream. Because we have the target. We have the exclusive yang seperti mana saya cakap. Yes, Indonesia, kita boleh cakap tarian Javanese dia, tarian Bali dia, semua orang tahu. Because the Minister of Culture, diorang semua sangat supportive toward the arts. Adakah saya nak menyalahkan kerajaan tentang ini? Tidak. It's bergantung kepada individual sebenarnya. Kalau mereka really want to accept the art seperti mana Indonesia, they will accept. Kita tidak boleh paksa. Saya tidak boleh cakap that we must get 1,000 of audience sitting here. It's almost impossible. You know, it's very hard. That's why I said it's enough to have all this kind of audience and word by mouth. Which is, you dah tengok performance macam gini, oh we have a great artist like Fairul Zahid, like Bayu Utomo, spreading word by mouth. And maybe 10 years from now, people will know Fairul Zahid and then we get 1,000 audience. We must start somewhere. You know, I didn't say that I do not need audience like 1,000 ke apa ke. Of course I want it so badly. I want to express my work. Tetapi saya sendiri tidak mahu meletakkan saya punya produk itu di dalam TV3, di dalam bernama TV for example, like commercialize our work, because we have the exclusivity of ourselves. We must take the ownership of our work juga. Kita tak nak put kat sini and then orang put and then kena ikut producer cakap macam gini, kena alter sikit. No, we don't want that. That's why it's enough to have all this kind of audience. Pardons again, I'm sorry if I know a little bit of harsh. Tetapi, Mr. over there who's sitting there, I know that you are very passionate that we must have the audience. We know we must have the audience. But yet, we cannot convince other people. It's very hard to convince 22 millions of Malaysians, rakyat Malaysia untuk datang tengok show yang macam gini. Perhaps if they sitting here, tadi saya tengok maybe full, right? And then when they listen to our talk, slowly fading off and so on and so forth. People doesn't accept the education, the arts education so much like what you guys did here. People doesn't really accept about the serious art so much like what you guys accept here. You know, different people, we cannot make a comparison with the apple and orange. That's obvious. The mainstream is a mainstream, marginalized is marginalized, serious art is serious art. Maybe one day we can reach like Indonesia. Maybe one day. You know, like last time I spoke to, sorry, a little bit, it's a very quick one. I spoke to Syed Sadiq through WhatsApp that I really want to have a festival, a contemporary arts festival, contemporary dance festival that involve culture, kita punya tradisi. And then we sell like Citra Warna. Tetapi jangan komersialkan macam Citra Warna. Make individu tu ada dia punya strong energy dia. You know, supaya orang boleh tengok. Macam mana Brazil, Rio de Janeiro Festival became so popular. Audience all over the world. We want to be like that. But again, they have a gap, they have a border, boundaries yang kita memang tak boleh nak break. Because the serious arts, it will always be marginalized. It's very hard. But hopefully, I really pray one day we're going to have an audience who will accept like my solo dance performance too. You know, in London we have one, which is Akram Khan. When Akram Khan performs, the theater tu penuh. Like 2,000 people, penuh. Am I going to reach like Akram Khan? Am I going to reach like Akram Khan, who received $2.4 million every year? It's almost impossible. Akram Khan is serious art. Maybe once in a blue moon akan dapat macam itu punya funding. Tetapi I'm happy. You guys here watching me, I'm happy. Kata orang shock sendiri kan. Kita macam shock sendiri kan. Tetapi it's actually, sir, a word by mouth. Balik ni kan, you balik kan cakap, you tahu ada budak tu yang pakai tanjak tu kan, dia menari tonteng like this. Very excellent. And then you spreading, and then your cousin will spreading again and this and that. And you masuk ke social media saya, Instagram, and add followers, this and that and blah blah blah. Maybe dia akan jadi ramai. Tapi it will take time, sir. I do really appreciate you punya thoughts. Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Zairul. Of course, it's always an issue about public appeal versus, idealistic notion. Working within capability, working within the context, from the inside. And maybe I just want to share one little thing. Since you mentioned about Singapore, I happened to sit down next to one of the art director from Singapore Art Museum. It is interesting to know. Don't have to judge about it, things like that. I think she was saying that when she knows that I'm from Kuala Lumpur, she said, we have been studying cases, how things work in the peninsula, KL, Ipoh, Georgetown, and Malacca. And she mentioned that this idea about working organically, things happen in a small circles, in a small capacity and scales, but it's dynamic. We have Kuala Lumpur, of course, the Ibu Kota, and then we have Ipoh, we have Georgetown, and we have Malacca, and maybe JB things, and of course the East Malaysia. So I was asking her, but you guys, you have all the big, like what you say, the big budget and things like that. That is the issue, she said. We have all this money, we have all this infrastructure, like what Bayu was saying. How to fill up the contents when the local interests and things like that is a challenge. I don't call it they don't have the talents, but it's a challenge. So on that note, I don't know, we are running almost out of time now. So we have been talking more than 1 hour to Zairul and Bayu. I think it's good to know the formation years, your early childhood. We know how things come about, and the expressive Zairul in formulating, in the millennial voice, So on that note, I will pass back to thank you again, everybody, for having me and the rest, listening to very dynamic conversation. I hope we will learn something from the adab of their way of working. I pass back the mic to our Miss Becky, our MC.
Okay, thank you very much, Pital. The mic is with me. Well, probably just as a wrap up, and there's two things I want to share is about your insight on why do we use this the artworks behind to create the Bersama Merentah Zaman Melaka identity as the catching factor for this exhibition. Actually, the painting behind is our own Petronas art collection, which we acquired during a couple of years back. We have this exhibition, and we encapsulate this particular piece to illustrate Melaka identity melalui bakat dan semangat is to show, as I said just now, is to show that behind every great organizations or companies, there's always the people behind. And this particular piece is selected to depict that, the determination, the spirits and the semangat and all. That's why we anchor this. And the first time around 2-3 years back, when we put this up at the right side, we had our F1 drivers coming in and taking photos with Bayu's Langkah 15, put it on their Instagram, and it's already a branding or a promotion, of course, Petronas as well as Malaysian talents. because this to them as F1, as yeah. I mean, if I am in their category, this is something that they would love to relate to. And I was thinking that if I am the president of this organization and I have that in my boardroom, how do you think people feel when they come and meet me? You know, that's how we as audience, the non-art audience, appreciate this. I'm sure Bayu will have a more in-depth explanation of this. 2 days back, I had a Datuk Sri who's involved, who's coming up with proposals involving in F1 again. When he saw this for the first time, he said, you know, Zarina, when I see this, it's really, really engaging. There's an energy in this. You know, there's a spirit that's saying to me something about being ready, being determined and all that. So that's the experience and the target that we want, if that's the impact that we catch. And for Zyril, I also agree with you in terms of visitorship. I'm sure you don't mean that visitors are not important, but the efforts must continue regardless on the numbers. Because I know having a program like this on a weekend, for now we have a good number, sometimes we have so less than targeted, sometimes we have double than exceeding. We had Wayang Kulit at the back there and there were like 300 plus people coming, tourists and all who don't even Kelantanese, I mean don't even understand Kelantan dialect if they don't make the efforts. My dad is Kelantanese, my kids do not speak Kelantan at all and neither do they understand it. But tourists coming from overseas come in and listen through the whole program. You know, even Dr. Nozizi's program that day, we had tourists who sat through too. So that's already creating an impact. For us, we can't dream big certain ways, and visitorship for Galeri Petronas is not a strong KPI. More of the impact of learning, because I was 10 years Director HR in Petroscience during the early days when we set up. The visitorship for Petroscience is easily 15 times more than Galeri Petronas. So if we are going to compare that, we're going to die. I mean, you know, but there are other measures that we take efforts, and since Pital touched on the new gallery, yes, we're going to have 4 times the space, we're going to have 3 stories, we're going to have sculpture garden, we're going to have thematic exhibitions, we're going to have corporate story exhibition, we're going to have the whole works there, and we want the artists to feel at home with us. We want to work together with the artists. I mean, what's the purpose of having a gallery without having, you know, our stakeholders, our important stakeholders? We want the artists to belong, to have a sense of belonging, because in 2024, when Petronas celebrates 50 years anniversary, that's our gift to the nation. For now, we are looking at Malaysian contemporary arts. During that time, we want to escalate further to position ourselves as a Southeast Asian player. You know what I mean? So we are working toward that, and we really, really appreciate all the relationships that we have. So it's, some people ask, what's the new gallery going to be about? They think that it's another new gallery. It's not that. It's this gallery that's going to move there. Dia macam pindah rumah, tapi rumah yang lebih besar, and then we need all the feedback. So thank you very much. We get feedbacks from the audience and views. And I think as Malaysians, we have to be very open, non-judgmental, and accepting ideas. And we are role models for the younger ones. If we can talk like this, agree not to disagree, that's what they will emulate. Okay? Thank you very much.